It's Thursday, January 11th. I'm your host, Sarah Beal. On today's show, we talk with Town Clerk Ann Quirk about the town census that went out in the mail at the start of the month. Then we'll get a legislative update from State Rep Will Crocker. And finally, our Barnstable High School intern, Mackenzie Connor, recently spoke to Athletic Director Scott Thomas about planned upgrades to the athletic fields at Barnstable High School. But first, let's get a look at today's top headlines. The Town of Barnstable Public Health Division will hold a flu clinic at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center on January 18th. This clinic is open to all town residents and the fee is just $3. The clinic will be held Thursday, January 18th from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Consent forms are available at the Barnstable Public Health Division offices at 200 Main Street and the Barnstable Senior Center. For more information, please call the Town of Barnstable Public Health Division at 508-862-4644. The Marine Environmental Affairs Division will be holding a commercial shellfish permit lottery. The lottery will be held on February 1st. New commercial shellfishing permits may be issued at the rate of one new permit for every one non-renewed permit or permit that is void as a result of other causes. To become eligible for a new commercial permit, you must apply by January 31st and pay the non-refundable $5 application fee. All completed legitimate applications will be entered into the lottery. If you have any questions, please contact the Marine and Environmental Affairs Division at 508-790-6272. Town Council President Eric Steinhilber and School Committee Chair Chris Joyce have provided a timeline for filling the recent vacancy on the Barnstable School Committee. Interested applicants should submit their resume to the School Department main office or Barnstable Town Council office by Friday, January 12th. Once all applicants have been interviewed, the Joint Subcommittee will recommend 2 applicants to move forward. A joint meeting of the School Committee and Town Council will take place at the Town Council's regularly scheduled meeting for Thursday, February 1st at 7 p.m. At that time, the final 2 applicants will have a second interview. Upon completion of the interviews, a vote will be taken to determine the successful candidate for the Barnstable School Committee. For more information, please contact Cynthia Lovell, Town Council Administrator, at 508-862-4733. Coming up, we'll chat with Ann Quirk, Town Clerk, about this town census. Ann, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to talk about the census. The town does a census every year, and you're going to start gearing up for that in January. What can you tell us about the census?
We have started working with the folks that are sending it out for us, and in this year, something different is that the Senior Center is also going to put in an insert with the census, so they're looking for information as well. The census is a mandate through the state of Massachusetts, and every city and town sends it out because we need to keep track of our voters, and we need to keep track of how many children there are out there that may be coming to school next year. And those are the kinds of things we're looking for with the census.
Mm-hmm. And with looking at those kind of things, what are the reasons that the town needs to have that information every year?
Well, you know, things change from year to year. People move into town, people move out of town. The other thing is that sometimes people forget to put their children on the census. So all of a sudden, one year we may get a whole family on there, and we just had the husband and wife. So it's important because we need to know how many children are going to attend school. What do we need for grades? What do we need for teachers? It's all one big ball.
Mm-hmm. And it's also a good way to know how many people are living in town,
Correct.
Where those people are living in town.
Correct.
It's not really a concern about who you are. It's just where you are.
Where you are.
Yeah.
Because as you know, we have so many different school districts, you know, within our schools, we have so many different locations, I should say. So, you know, it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. I know sometimes people get confused because they hear census and they think the national census, but this is something that the town does every single year. It goes out, you'll get it in the mail. Mm-hmm. If you get it in the mail and you lose it, you can come into town hall and you can fill out a form here. Can you get forms at other locations?
They can call us on the phone and we can send one out, or we could just talk with them and just verify that everything is the same as it was the previous year. So we do have that information at on a computer for us, and we do look for people to just sign it if nothing's changed and send it back to us. The libraries sometimes collect them for us. Just pop in and see us, give us a call. but just sign it, and that way we know everything's the same. If someone's moved, if someone in your family has moved, one of your children got married and they've moved away, we need to know because we need to take them off the census.
Right.
So that's all important information for us.
And it's also a way to make sure that you stay on the active voter list.
Very, very important for that. You will find out now in 2020, we're going to have another presidential election. Hopefully everybody will have sent their census back, so we'll have everybody where they should be, so there won't be the tie-ups and the lines of people waiting to vote because they haven't voted in 4 years and they haven't sent in a census. And
it's important.
It's important.
And like you said, even if nothing has changed, you should still turn it in. It's not one of those things, oh, well, nothing's changed. I live in the same place, you know.
Right.
Everything's fine, so I don't need to send it in. You still need to send it in. It's so easy. Sign it, send it back in. If you're in town hall, drop it in the box that you guys have in the first floor area. Very easy. So when should people start seeing those coming in the mail?
Probably the first week of January. That's what we're gearing towards.
Will they all go out once, or is it a rolling?
No, they'll all go out at once. So we're looking at that time frame. But of course, right now, because of Christmas and the holidays and things that are happening, we really didn't want them to go out in the mail before the end of December, the beginning of January, because then they have the possibility of getting lost in the mail.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're hoping that towards the first week of, second week of January, they should stop rolling out.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. There's so much extra mail coming in, and packages, and cards, and flyers, and everything else that you get at this time of the year. So it's important to make sure that it's, you know, people are aware of it, they see it, they get it, and it takes 2 seconds. It doesn't take much time at all.
And it really doesn't. And this year we're going to have a different color envelope for them to put their census into, to return it to us, so that it stands out for us and we can take it right out of the mail and make sure we take care of our part of it.
Excellent. Another thing we wanted to chat about today is Margot Weber stepped down from the school committee last year. She had just run for re-election, so that leaves a hole on the school committee. What's going to be the process moving forward to fill her position on the school committee?
Well, I have received her letter of resignation, which was step one. I've notified the school committee and the town council so that they're aware that I have the resignation letter, and now we have a window of 30 days that we have to do something about this. So what will happen is, if people are interested, please contact either your town councilor or the school committee and let them know you are interested, because they will be looking at people to see who is interested to take this position. It is for 4 years. You will complete her term, and it's something that's vital to the school system and to the town. So as long as you're a voter in the town of Barnstable, you can actually put your name in for this. And I don't know exactly when the town council and the school committee are going to meet, but we have a time frame we have to follow. So everyone is aware of the time frame, and we're just going to try and work around this to get everything done within 30 days.
So this will be a joint appointment from both the town council and the school committee. They will get together and decide who that they're going to appoint. Are they going to have do you know if they're going to plan on having a special meeting, or?
Well, that's what I'm assuming they're going to do first, is have a special meeting. And it will be open to the public.
Yep.
So as soon as we know that, it'll go up on the website.
Wonderful.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a process, but it sounds like, you know,
It is.
everyone's going to do their best to find the best candidate for the position. And like you said, if anyone out there is interested, they can contact the town council or the school committee and let that be known, so that, you know, they can be considered for that 4-year position. It's, you know, it's a long term.
It is.
So it has to be, you know, serious candidates only.
Serious, definitely.
Wonderful. Ann, is there anything else you'd like our viewers to know about before I let you go?
You may be getting phone calls. You may see some mail coming through regarding the 2020 census, which is the federal census. And that's the one where they go out door to door. So if you should start hearing things, it's because they're gearing up for it. We're already on board here at the town, as all the other towns in Massachusetts. So things are starting to happen towards that one. So don't be surprised if you start getting mail and they're asking questions. It's okay.
Yep. The big census is coming.
The big one.
We got a few years to go, but everyone in the town should be ready because we do our annual census every year. So.
We do.
Thank you so much, Ann, for coming down and chatting with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. My guest today is Ann Quirk. She's the town clerk here in the town of Barnstable. Coming up, our intern Mackenzie Connor's interview with Athletic Director Scott Thomas. But first, we get a legislative update from State Rep Will Crocker. Will, thank you so much for joining us today. I know it's a little early in the year. You guys are just getting back after your break, but we want to talk a little bit about what you have coming up this session. This is the second half of your first term.
Right, and as it progresses, again, it's January, and what that means is that we're going to start the budget process at this point all over again.
Yep.
In terms of what the budget looks like, spoke with the governor last week, and he said it looks like the numbers for the upcoming fiscal year 19 look good, better than fiscal year 18. Luckily, this year we did not have to do any 9C cuts as we had to do in December of last year, previous fiscal year. So, we're in a maybe a little bit, he said advisedly, a little bit better picture for revenues, and some of that may have had also to do with what was done down in Washington with the reforms down there to the tax code, and a lot of people last part in December filed their taxes for 2018 early to get in, to get into some tax advantages for them. So the state got a little bit more money than they were expecting. So we're in a decent shape fiscally, and I know some of the things that I know the governor wants to work on is make some reforms to Mass Health, basically to try to get some of the people who are on Mass Health, who are able-bodied and able to work, to avail themselves of the health plans that their employers are offering them, and to get them off the Mass Health rolls there, so that the state can save some money there, and maybe work and try and get a handle on some of the spending there, which is a tremendous portion of the state budget goes to Mass Health.
Right.
But that's one of the things we're going to be working on. I know that one of the things that all the state reps will be working for is Chapter 70, more Chapter 70 money, unrestricted aid to coming back to the cities and towns. That's one of the most important things that we do is try to get that unrestricted aid back to the cities and towns that we represent. So with more money, hopefully we'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I know that today you had your office hours. Those are, do you have them every month?
The first Friday of every month, because I represent both Yarmouth and Barnstable. I start my day out in Yarmouth at 9:30 in the morning, from 9:30 to 11 at the Yarmouth Senior Center, and then from noon to 1:30 on the first Friday here at Barnstable Town Hall, up in the office on the 3rd floor.
I think that's a great way for residents and your constituents, if they have questions or want to talk to you about some of these things that we might talk about on the show. I think that's a great way for them to reach out to you if they have an issue that they're worried about, or like I said, anything that might be going on, to get in touch with you that way. Is there anything coming up in 2018 specific to Barnstable and Yarmouth that you're looking forward or looking towards working on?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm going to be working on, and we still haven't put together all of the fine points on this, is opiate abuse and the opiate problem. What I'm working for right now is to try and come up with a permanent funding source for prevention programs for the opiate issue. We need to spend, and I've said it many times, we need to spend the amount of time, talent, and treasure what we did back in the 80s with regard to tobacco and teaching a generation of kids from the point where they can understand the dangers of tobacco all the way through high school. Now the dangers is opiates, and we need to have an age-appropriate prevention program in our communities. And what I'm working on and trying to get trying to get the funding mechanism in order is a permanent ability to be able to fund prevention programs in our communities on opiate addiction.
Yeah, it's an important issue, especially here in the state of Massachusetts and across the United States. So I think that's a wonderful step that you're taking. I also want to talk about, there's 2 home rule petitions that you've been working on. I know we talked about them last time you were here, but let's just kind of go over them so that the residents are aware of what those are.
Well, House Bill 3881, right now, it kind of got amalgamated into a couple of other bills. Right now, it is with House Counsel. The lawyers for the House are looking at that bill, and they're also looking at zoning changes across the state. They want to look and see how this affects other possible zoning changes across the state and other communities. So right now, it's in what we like to say is it's in with House Counsel, the legal people for the House, looking at seeing how this bill would affect zoning issues in other communities. So they're looking at that now. I was in touch with the House Counsel this week on that to try and see where we are with that, and that's where they told me, and I'm just trying to push that along as fast as I can to be able to get that back into the legislative process as far as the House is concerned, and then eventually get it onto the Senate, and then eventually get it onto the governor to be able to sign. So that's where that one is. The other home rule petition has to do with allowing the town of Barnstable to be able to use money on private roads for planning and development, because right now we can use that funds for private roads for construction, but we can't use it right now for planning and development of those roads, and whatever they may need in terms of drainage, in terms of road beds and that sort of stuff. Can't use that money for that. It can be used strictly for construction. So this bill changes the wording around it. It's just basically a language change, really nuts and bolts. And right now it's in the Senate, it's in the bills in 3rd reading in the Senate, and we're trying to move that along to the floor of the Senate with Senator Sears' influence there to be able to move it to the Senate, to get it through the Senate process, back to the House for enactment, and then back to the Senate for enactment, and then to the governor's office for his signature.
Right. I think that's an important change to that, because like you said, yeah, we can do the construction, but if we can't plan for it, or we don't have the funds to plan for that road construction, that can be costly as well. I mean, planning to upgrade a road is not just, just go in there and pave it.
And that cost right now is incumbent on the people who live on that road, the people who live on those private roads. So that's, we'd like to be able to expend that money through the town.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like our viewers to know about before I let you go?
No, other than that I'm always available. I have a new aide as of the first part of December. Her name is Caitlin Wright. She's come on. She just graduated. She graduated the 15th of December from college, and then on the 18th of December started with me. So she didn't have much of a vacation.
No, not much of a break.
But she's already proven in the month that she's been there in my office to be a great legislative aide, and we look forward to working with her.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming in and joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
We'll talk to you next month. My guest today is Will Crocker. He's the state rep in the 2nd Barnstable District.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Connor, intern for Channel 18, and today we are at Barnstable High School with Athletic Director Scott Thomas to talk about the master plan improvement. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, so what exactly is this master plan?
Well, it is a total renovation of all of our athletic facilities outside. We are really excited about the whole project in itself, which is going to address many of the needs that we have and improve a lot of the areas that we have currently with our athletic fields.
Cool. So can you just go over what exactly all these fields are?
Yeah, I mean, this is basically a rendering of what the fields will look like after we finish. This is going to be a 3-phase program where we're going to go at it in 3 phases. Starting first here with where the baseball field currently exists, we're going to keep the same footprint that we have currently, but we're going to make this into an artificial surface, just like our stadium turf, and make it a multi-purpose facility. We will be able to play baseball and softball on this surface. We will also be able to play the rectangular sports like lacrosse, field hockey, soccer. So this is going to give us another artificial turf to use and help us to maintain equity with all of our sports teams, making sure that everybody has a top quality facility to play upon. So when this is done, we'll also be laying, you know, the groundwork for what the future will bring. You can see that there's a beautiful path system that goes extensively around the entire athletic complex. Everything is connected. This will also be considered perhaps walking paths for people. So multifunctional in that regard, giving people an opportunity to get some exercise and maybe not have the boredom of just walking around the track. So we think that that'll serve a double purpose for us. And then, you know, increasing the rest of the fields that you see here, we will be due shortly, you know, to do some renovations to the stadium. That turf is going on its 9th year, believe it or not. We will be beginning a new bleacher project in the next couple of weeks, to be honest with you. The bleachers will be taken down, new bleachers, new press box, and visitors bleachers as well, also to be used during graduation. So we'll start some work there. We're getting a new scoreboard that's going to be donated to us by the Cobb Trust. So we're really excited about that, and we'll be making some improvements to the facility here. But also to reorient the current fields that we have. If you look at this diagram right here, currently our sub-varsity baseball field is kitty corner to what is our JV softball field. So not being able to play the same sports at the same time, again, this gives us more opportunity to spread things out. And we'll be able to rest fields as well. So the natural turf fields, which would be over at the intermediate school, and in this part of Barnstable High School's field space, we'll be able to rotate fields, meaning that we'll be able to rest fields. Like sometimes, like a season will come and maybe we need to rest this field over here and be able to utilize the other fields on the perimeter so that we can keep our natural grass fields up to the level that we would love to have.
So how did this idea kind of come about?
Well, when I came to Barnstable 5 years ago, one of the first things I noticed as doing an assessment over the facilities, both inside and out, was that the baseball field just really stood out to me. We utilized some budget monies to do some leveling, put some sod down, make some fencing changes and things like that, fix the mound to make it a better place for our baseball teams to play, but now we're looking for we need a new backstop. The backstop is years and years and years and years old, still made out of wood in some spots, which you don't usually see. That should be up and in place ahead of the whole project. That should be up and in place by this spring in order for the baseball team to have that new backstop. And then as the progress goes with the field, we'll continue in this area right here. We have a facility that'll be pretty much centered, which will be for bathrooms and concession stands and storage space, which we'll have. We'll also have storage space behind the baseball dugouts. We'll have storage space maybe behind the bleachers as well. So we're going to attack a lot of different areas that we need to improve upon as we go through this project. When we are done, when we are finished, this will be the premier interscholastic athletic facility. We will be the envy of all. It's just an awesome plan. As you can see, it's impressive. Our athletes deserve it, and I'm sure that you would agree with that, being an athlete yourself.
Of course, the year I graduated.
Of course, but some pride when you come back. You got it.
So how are you getting all the money to do all these renovations?
Well, you know, it's not completely determined yet, and the project is still in the process of being approved. It is going to be a priority for our capital budgeting going forward, and I would assume that it's going to be a combination of school funds and donations and fundraising that'll help us put this all together.
Cool. So looking at kind of like a timeline, when do you feel like some of these things are going to be done, or when is it all going to be done?
I mean, if everything were approved and we were to start, I would say that the first phase, if we were to start during the next fiscal year, the first phase would probably take somewhere in the range of a year, so we'll have to talk about and think about where are we going to have our teams play while the construction is going on and so forth. But we've got some good plans to make that work. And then beyond that, how the phases go, and I'm sure it's tied to funding and and budgeting and so forth. So getting some momentum going and getting this first phase done and getting people excited about it. We're hoping to get some excitement from alumni and from local businesses and foundations that are willing to, help out this massive project, which is going to be a benefit for everybody.
Well, I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
Aren't we all? Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Let's take a look at this week's community calendar. The Friends of Barnstable High School Music will host a benefit concert featuring Tusk, the Ultimate Fleetwood Mac Tribute Band, on Friday, January 12th at 7:30 p.m. The concert will take place in the Barnstable High School Performing Arts Center. The Help Keep Music Education Alive concert series is the 7th annual benefit concert for the BHS music program. Funds raised will help to purchase new uniforms for the BHS band, which has over 150 students enrolled in the school's music program. Last year's concert raised over $14,000. The BHS band will perform live with the Tusk musicians on some songs. The Barnstable High School Music Department enrolls students in the marching band, wind ensemble, chorus, and jazz band. Tickets are available at Shaw's Markets in Hyannis or by calling 1-800-316-8559. Tickets are also available online at www.purplepass.com. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with an all-new show. On tomorrow's show, we'll talk with Sandy Neck Park Manager Nina Coleman. We'll catch up with Program Coordinator Tim McGrath from the Recreation Division. And finally, we'll have our Arts and Culture segment where we learn all about the New Classics Company. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Beal.